What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a palette resurrection. This was requested by a few of you guys actually. I've had a few people mention it to me since I started my channel, and particularly since I started doing the palette resurrections, that they wanted me to resurrect the Urban Decay Electric Palette. Now, this palette is, I would say, definitely a dead palette. Obviously it's still popular, it's always going to be like a cult classic, but it's not dead because of us. This one is dead because Urban Decay killed it. I don't even know what they're thinking because it is an amazing palette. They do have it on Nordstrom Rack's website. It sold out like for a second. Like I thought I was gonna be able to get it on their website, and then when it sold out I was like, no! Turns out they had it at my local store. Get it now because it's going. I'm gonna be doing 3 different looks today. Of course, this one is probably my favorite. I love the way this turned out. It's like cotton candy, reverse halo eye. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I really, really love it. This is like my kind of bright colored look. I love it to still kind of look grungy, but at the same time neon and bright and vivid. I am using only the shadows in this palette for all 3 looks. I'm not going to bring in any like outside shades like a contour, transition, or highlight or anything like that. Anyway, if you are new to my channel, I'm Smacy. I upload usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and sometimes Saturday. Anyway, if you're not subscribed and you want to be, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and let's get started. So for the first look, I'm going to take a Morphe M576 blending brush and the shade Slowburn, which is the neon orange shade in the palette, and I'm blending it through my crease pretty lightly. I'm not packing on the pigment too much here. I want it to be pretty diffused. Then I'm going to take the Real Techniques shading brush and go into the purple shade called Urban, and I'm packing that on my outer corner, like the outer third of my eye, and just diffusing edges ever so slightly. But then I'm going to go in with the Morphe M506 brush and blend it out a little bit better. I'm also shaping a easy wing, not a very harsh wing, just a little bit of a wing on the outer corner of my eye. I'm going on my lower lash line with that little Morphe blending brush again. I'm going to take the shade Slowburn and just blend it along my lash line, following that same shape that I've created on my upper lid. Then I'm going into the silver shade Revolt. I'm just going to use my finger to pack it onto the inner third of my lid, just diffusing it onto the center of my lid as needed. I want to have a pretty seamless transition there. I'm kind of going for a pretty soft look here. Then I'm going to take the brush that came in the palette and just mimic that same design on my lower lid there with that silver shade. Just taking that Morphe blending brush, blending out the edges a bit. Then I'm going to pack some more of the shade Urban just on my lid, not taking it past my crease, just re-intensifying that purple that got blended away. Then I'm going to take that same purple on an L flat liner brush and put it pretty heavily on my lower lash line and blend it out with the Morphe blending brush, the little Morphe blending brush that I've been using. Then I'm going to take Kat Von D's Lolita 2 liquid lipstick on a tiny Real Techniques eyeliner brush and actually line my waterline with it, and it actually worked out really well. And that is the finished look. Pretty wearable look of the 3 in my opinion. This is something that I personally would wear out. And I used the Lime Crime Metallic Velveteen in the shade Lana. Thought it matched my waterline pretty well. Okay, so first I'm going to go into the shade Thrash. I'm using a MAC 217 fluffy blending brush and blending that into my crease pretty heavily. I want to build that pigment up quite a bit in my crease there. I think this is actually probably my favorite shade in the palette. I absolutely love this shade. And of course, sticking with one of my favorite shapes that I always do. Doing a more harsh wing shape with this one. taking it out a bit further than the last one actually. Blending that onto my lower lash line as well, making sure I got the shape right. Then I'm going to go into the shade Fringe, and I'm using the electric palette, the brush that came in the electric palette, and I'm packing that on the outer corner of my eye and into my angle bracket, as I like to call it, my outer V. Just not taking that up too far at this point, just trying to keep it right on the outer corner of my eye, upper and lower lid. Then I'm going to go in and just blend that all together with that MAC 217. Then I'm going to go into that metallic green shade called Freak, and I'm packing that on like the inner half of my eye and blending it in with the blue shade Fringe. And of course I'm going to blend everything until I'm happy with it. I'm taking a little more of that Fringe shade right now and putting it in my crease. Just kind of going back and forth between Fringe and Freak and making sure I have a good ratio there. Then I'm going to take Real Technique shading brush, and I'm going to use that silver shade called Revolt, and I'm using that as my highlight, but I'm not packing it on really heavily. I'm shearing it out a bit. So yeah, it looks pretty chunky and glittery, but that's the effect I'm going for. And I'm also taking that on my inner corner and on the bottom of my lash line. And that is the finished look. First I'm going into the hot pink shade called Savage. I'm taking a MAC 217 and just blending it into my crease. Then I'm taking that Morphe M506 brush, packing the shade Jilted onto my outer corner, trying to keep it pretty far out, if you can see, not bringing it in too far. Also packing it on my inner corner. I'm going to use the brush that came in the electric palette. Blending that out there, just making sure I've got it pretty well packed onto the inner and outer corner at this point. Making sure I have everything blended out on the edges. Then I'm going to take the shade Urban on the smaller end of the brush that comes with the electric palette, the little tiny end, and I'm going to go right on the inside of the shade Jilted with that. If you can see, I am not going on the center of my lid, just taking it right inside that first shade I placed on the outer corner. Just making sure I have a pretty good transition between the two of those shades. I'm just blending as much as I need to, adding more color as I need to, taking a little bit of that purple Urban shade onto my brow bone, if you can see right there, just onto the bottom of my brow bone, not dragging it up too high. Blending out the edges a bit more. Then I'm taking the shade Gonzo with my finger. It's that bright blue shade on the top row, patting that on the center of my lid and blending it in with the purple next to it, and going back and forth with that purple shade and the blue shade until I get a nice seamless transition with the blue primarily in the middle, and it fades into pink on my outer lid, if you can see what I'm doing here. I don't know, almost like a galaxy kind of look. packing that blue on as much as I need to. Just going, I mean, there's a lot of back and forth involved in this look. There's a lot of blending involved in this look. And going back and forth until I like my transition that I have and until I like the shape that I have. And at this point, that's when I'm going to go in and I'm going to start working on the shape once I'm happy with that blend on my upper lid, that is. Now I'm going to take Savage on my lower lash line. I'm going to use that little Morphe 506 blending brush. Of course, I'm shaping it with my outer corner there, making sure it follows the shape I like to do on my eye, packing it on the inner corner. I'm basically just mimicking the exact shape I have on my upper lid. But I think I might skip Jilted here if I remember correctly, because it just didn't see, I don't have as much space on my lower lid, so it's a lot easier for me to make a smooth transition without using that extra pink shade. Then of course taking Gonzo, that blue shade, on the center of my lower lash line and just blending it out. Much like I did the top, I want it to exactly mimic my upper lid. Just cleaning it up a bit. Then I'm going to take Revolt, the silver shade again, using it as my inner corner highlight. Just blending out the edges as I need to. Of course, taking that just on the highest part of my brow a little bit. And of course blending some more because I am obsessive about blending. And I have a lot of lid space, so once my lids start to bunch up on each other, it's hard to keep my eyeshadow blended. And there is the finished look. Alright guys, I hope you like these tutorials. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber and you want to be, just hit the subscribe button on your way out. I'll see you next time. Peace out, guys.